With 2 weeks to go, the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns and the Marshall Thundering Herd are your Sunbelt leaders. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Okay, so with all of the tie-breaking talk yesterday, and I feel like I'm hungover because my head still hurts. Someone commented that the easiest way to go is still the Cajuns and Marshall, and that is very true. Technically, both teams can wrap up their divisions this week, right? If the Cajuns win, they will lock it up against Texas State. So they would need South Alabama to lose. That would be it. They would need Southern Miss. Cajuns win and South Alabama loses, then the Cajuns would have wrapped that up. In the West, or in the East rather, it is if JMU loses and Georgia Southern loses and Marshall wins. That's it, right? That would be wrapped up. But that's no fun, and that doesn't get me another week, a week worth of episodes. Although I think that would be a pretty good ball game, the Cajuns and Marshall. That would be an outstanding ball game for sure. And you're still playing for home field advantage. So it is not all over yet. But I did want to, and I had it before. Let me upload it here again. Because it's just not, it's not as easy. And there's Marshall. All right. So that's the East. It's going over the tiebreakers. And what that involves is not as easy when you need to be looking at the teams. All right. And I've added in there, don't go crazy, Marshall fans. I added that just to make sure I would understand what has to happen here, okay? And so obviously the biggest thing is for there to be a tiebreaker, Marshall needs to lose to ODU. So if Marshall loses to ODU, JMU and Georgia Southern win, everybody's 5-2, all right? Marshall ends up losing in that tiebreaker, although the season comes down to that last game with Marshall and JMU. And so if you have Marshall, Georgia Southern, and JMU all in a tiebreaker, one of those teams is going to be eliminated between Marshall and JMU. Whomever it is, we'll just say it's JMU for the sake of conversation. And then if you are tied between Marshall and Georgia Southern, Marshall's going to end up losing that tiebreaker. Georgia Southern's got a shot. All right. So there it all is. Try to do it because like that second or third way they break it down is maybe the second one, in fact. No, it's the third one. The first one is head-to-head. The second one is winning percentage in the division, and then it's the winning percentage against the teams that you are tied with. And I did put ODU in there. I guess there's a way that all of them can end up being 5-3, but that's not very likely. And so you can see again, Marshall is ahead of Georgia Southern because they have a better record. Georgia Southern is ahead of JMU because Georgia Southern beat JMU, and JMU is ahead of ODU because they're a game ahead. So again, Marshall is in control. You know, this is not going to be an easy ball game. They got to go to ODU. But if they don't, it certainly opens up the door for Georgia Southern and JMU. All right. But Marshall is not looking good for tie-breaking purposes. All right. That's where I wanted to see that to be the case or see if that is the case. And so they're not looking good for tie-breaking purposes. We go to the West Division. All right. And we get it all down. Didn't forecast anyone's losses because Cajuns have, they're ahead, and these other three teams are tied. Texas State is ahead of Arkansas State because they beat them, and then Arkansas State is ahead of South Alabama because they beat them. Now, remember, South Alabama has beaten the Cajuns, So again, you can see it here. The Cajuns have 2 wins against those other 3 teams. All right. And the big ball game, just like in the East, where you have Marshall and JMU, you have South Alabama and Texas State. Now, in this case, you need Troy to come up and upend the Cajuns. I think that spread is maybe a little bit too large for my liking. What was it, 12? We can check it out what it is. Seemed like it was a lot with a really banged up Ragin Cajuns team. It is down to 10 as of Wednesday night. So again, you can see here that the Cajuns have the advantage. They've beaten 2 out of the 3 teams. All right. South Alabama's going to Southern Miss. That should be a win. In this case, I'm counting my chickens before they hatch. And then Texas State goes to South Alabama to finish it up at the end of the season. Cajuns get Troy and ULM. They'll be favored in both of those. Again, a two score favorite game against 2 scores against Troy, and they'll probably be a touchdown or so favorite, depending on how this game goes against ULM. Again, the Cajuns can eliminate with a win. They would eliminate Texas State and Arkansas State from the division because those 2 teams need to finish ahead of the Cajuns. They would not eliminate South Alabama. If South Alabama beats Southern Miss, then South Alabama still has a shot at the division if they beat Texas State and the Cajuns lose to ULM. All right. So teams can be eliminated this weekend. On the other side, they can't. I don't believe so. Let's figure that one out. If they win, if they all win, if Marshall beats ODU is eliminated, right? And JMU and Georgia Southern would still have, 1 game deficit. So let's play that out again. Say JMU. So that now we're getting into it, because if JMU beats Marshall and JMU and Georgia Southern are tied, but it's a 3-way tie because they're all, no. So they wouldn't be. Marshall would have that one more loss. Yeah, Marshall would have one more loss. So they would be eliminated. And then you'd have JMU and Georgia Southern, and Georgia Southern beat JMU. It's not working out the way I thought it would, because Marshall, again, the loser of Marshall JMU is going to get eliminated in a couple weeks if everybody wins this week. All right. And again, whereas on the other side, Texas State and Arkansas State can't do anything about it. If the Cajuns win, Texas State and Arkansas State are eliminated from contention. Everybody get that? Everyone's head hurt as much as mine does? Did I make that more confusing than it should be? But again, you have it written down, typed out. And again, I know I added a loss to Marshall because I wanted to see it the way that it worked out if it got all of them tied, and it doesn't. So in this case, if it does, but if they all end up tied, they can't all end up tied is basically the deal. That is the difference between the 2 divisions. They can't all end up tied. And obviously it can't be a 4-way tie either, because Texas State and South Alabama have to play each other. So one of those 2 teams would be eliminated if the Cajuns lose this week to Troy. Then the loser of Texas State and South Alabama obviously would be eliminated later on. So there it is. Yes, someone very easily said it just very easily could be, the Cajuns and the Thundering Herd without it getting all convoluted. Again, Marshall can't eliminate anybody this week with a win, whereas the Cajuns can eliminate Texas State and Arkansas State from Sun Belt contention. Whereas South Alabama, they beat Southern Miss, and they're still in it. However, the Cajuns lose to Troy at home. It is wide open. That's for sure. Marshall loses to ODU on the road, then it brings the other 2 teams back in. All right. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back we will talk about Player of the Year candidates. Now that Ben Wooldridge is out and probably gone for the season, can he still win it? Who else is in contention for the Sun Belt Player of the Year? We will do that when we come back after I tell you about Skylight Frames and FanDuel. Missing someone this holiday season? Want them to be part of your festivities from afar? Do your loved ones live far away but wish they could be close to you? We've got the perfect gift for you. Skylight Frame is the touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. Upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. It's so easy to use. Setup takes less than 60 seconds. Invite friends and family to easily share photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email. No account or subscription required. It looks beautiful in your home. Photos are displayed in HD resolution, and you could choose from 5 different frame styles set up in portrait or landscape mode. 2 sizes to choose from, the original 10-inch or larger 15-inch gallery frame. They look perfect in any room, and they can stand on their own, or you can easily mount them to a wall. And now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/college. That's SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/college. That's skylightframe.com/college. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/college. And FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Losing my voice a little bit. Goodness. I didn't even do tours yesterday. All right. Let's talk about the Player of the Year candidates. And again, for the better part of the last few weeks, it was going to be Ben Wooldridge, right? He was the best player on the best team. And regardless of what you think and regardless of statistics, that's probably who's going to win the trophy, right? But Ben got hurt, wasn't playing particularly well, and there's other candidates now, all right? So you always start off with the quarterbacks, right? That's where we start. And passing wise, I guess it's listed as average yards per game. Okay. The way that the Sun Belt does it, at least to begin with. Okay. So Joey Aguilar leads that, 277 yards a game. He's obviously not going to win it. Gio Lopez has had a fantastic season in his redshirt year, 241 yards per ball game. He has 14 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions, okay? Ben Wooldridge, 17 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, 68.3% completion percentage. Yards-wise, he was a second behind Aguilar, just about 100 yards behind. And remember, he didn't play most of the second half last ball game, all right? If we're doing again, yards per game, right after Ben Wooldridge is Jordan McLeod from Texas State. Certainly was in the mix. He's the defending Sun Belt Player of the Year, 237 yards. Few too many interceptions all of a sudden. 25 TDs, though. That leads the conference. He's got 8 interceptions, all right? And this may be your guy. James Madison may have back-to-back Sun Belt Players of the Year. Alonza, and what a great story this is. Alonza Barnett, the third, second in touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. Completion percentage is less than 60%, but he is right up there in yardage. He is 4th in yardage behind Aguilar, Wooldridge, and McLeod. And again, he is 2nd in touchdowns behind McLeod. He's just had a fantastic season. And again, if you get the rushing yardage in there as well, he's not going to be in the top rushers, obviously. But I mean, that could be your leading candidate right now. That would be the guy that I would have quarterback wise, would be your top candidate. Barnett the third. JMU. Well, if JMU wins out, they're going to go play in the championship ball game probably. Well, no, I guess not. Georgia Southern has to lose. They may not. But if they finish tied for first and lose on the tiebreaker, you got a good shot at Barnett being your Sun Belt Player of the Year. Rushing wise, I mean, you got a couple of really good candidates. I'm actually surprised to see Ishmael Mahdi this high. But it's not total yardage, but it is per ball game. He's third in the conference with 78 yards a game. He had such a better year. That he was my prediction for Sun Belt Player of the Year to come into it. He's only got 3 touchdowns, but he's third in the conference in yards per ball game. He is also right up there, maybe third in yards, period. He is. Ahmad Hardy is going to be your freshman of the year. He leads the league in rushing, 975 yards. He also has the most attempts, 179 attempts and 975 yards. Also is tied, actually second in touchdowns. Braden Bennett for Coastal Carolina actually has 11 rushing touchdowns. And Fluff Bothwell from South Alabama and Hardy each have 10. It's going to be a tough loss for Fluff to lose freshman of the year, but because he's splitting time with Bullock. But Ahmad Hardy's had a fantastic season. Kentrell Bullock is right there. I mean, Fluff is 7th in yards, 649, and Kentrell Bullock is 9th in yards with 630. So that's a pretty good 1-2 punch for South Alabama. So probably Hardy's not going to get it. He's probably going to be your freshman of the year. Defensively, no one has a lot of sacks. Mario Thompson from Old Dominion has 4.5 sacks. That's not a great many. Jacob Dobbs has 3. Oh, excuse me. Mike Green has 15. Sorry. I was listed based on tackles. From the defensive side, Marshall's Mike Green is going to get some play. All right. He's got 15 sacks. He's not going to be on there for tackles per se. He's way down there in tackles. 68 tackles. That's 14th. But he's got 15 sacks. So he's had a phenomenal season. And, I mean, there wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. Marshall wins that division. Mike Green could be your player of the year. If Marshall wins that division, he very well could be the player of the year. 15 sacks is outrageous. And I'm one of those guys that thinks that sacks may be one of the most overrated stats ever. Depends when you get them, what happens after. If you sack somebody on first down, do they still get another first down? Did you get them on third down? What happens? Nonetheless, plus if you're getting 15 sacks, how many times has he gotten close? Right? Does it say his tackles for loss? It does not say. Here we go. Let's do tackles for loss. We got that separately. He has 19.5 tackles for loss. So, and you can think of all the ones that he got close to. So Mike Green for Marshall may very well be there. So I would still say, I guess Gio Lopez of South Alabama somehow pulls this out. He's going to get some votes. Alonza Barnett III, Ben Wooldridge, and Mike Green are right now your leading candidates. Probably Barnett and Green are your 2 leading candidates. Wooldridge should get a lot of consideration, but it's what have you done for me lately, and he's going to miss 2.5 ball games, right? And it's weird the way this works, but if Chandler Fields leads them to the division title in the last 2 ball games, I mean, he's surrounded by a lot of talent, and so is Wooldridge, right? And the best part about the Cajuns is that they don't have one big-time leading receiver. Like, they throw it to 8 or 9 guys. So Ben Wooldridge. Plus, he's got the three-headed monster in the backfield. So he's got a lot of talent around him. That doesn't change the fact that he's had a great season. So it was Wooldridge before he got hurt. Now it's probably Alonza Barnett III, and it's probably Mike Green from Marshall are your two leading candidates, which you usually don't see that from a defensive player, but that's probably who it is. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll check out Sunbelt Hoops. Not a whole lot going on a Wednesday night. We'll look ahead to Thursday night's action as well, maybe peek ahead to Friday. And, of course, we'll come back tomorrow and preview all of the action. No early week games this week. We will do that after I tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can win now up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday each Tuesday. Prize Pick discounts, select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Think Justin Jefferson will get more than 83.5 yards next week, or Lamar Jackson pass more than 1.5 touchdowns? Cook up your hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's download your app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your team every day. All of a sudden, we got the little drive for 2025 in the little social media, and I put myself on. I'm not leaving Twitter, but a lot of people are going to Blue Sky, so you can find the information there as well. I'll go wherever the people are. And we did get a few more. We're over 1,630 subscribers. So put that little drive for 2025 there, and you never know. We need, more 100. We need 368 in less than a month and a half. Come on, people. We can do this. So I do appreciate it. Over 1,630 subscribers. We keep on building, and you can see the comments coming on, more and more comments. All right. Let's check out the college hoops. Not a lot on Wednesday night. Southern Miss in a tough spot going up against the Roadrunners in South Dakota with 6 minutes to go in the game. 88-62 South Dakota State running away with it. We can recap a little Tuesday night action. We told you App State did beat Queens University yesterday, 65-53. Old Dominion does win for the second time in a row. They beat Randolph-Macon 71-55. Troy hammers West Georgia. I may have told you that one, 84-65. Rice ends up blowing out the Cajuns 83-61. That game was tied at 50. Cajuns got off to a really slow start offensively, trailed by 41-40 at half, and the game was tied at 50, and they managed to lose 83-61. It's going to be a long year for the Cajuns. It's a long year. They lost their best player. I'm going to remind you that. Maybe I'm reminding Cajuns fans that as well. They lost their best player. They got another player hurt. Here's the thing, which we all know in the Sun Belt, regardless of what we want to believe in. The only thing that matters in the Sun Belt is conference seeding, and which matters in a big way now with the way the tournament is, and the tournament. That's it. That's all that matters. Whatever the Cajuns are now doesn't really matter. They need to figure it out so they can be good when conference play starts at the end of December and into January. And that's it. We'll see if they can, because right now they're not looking very good. Not at all. All right. So then we got Thursday night hoops. What's going on tonight? You do have, well, so this morning, actually. It is the Boardwalk Battle in Daytona Beach. University of Illinois, Chicago, taking on James Madison. All of a sudden, the Dukes have lost 2 in a row. Do I have that right? No, they beat Ohio, lost to Norfolk State, beat Mary Baldwin, but lost to Townsend. They're struggling a little bit. My guy who transferred from Syracuse is struggling in a big way. Justin Taylor. He's playing 18.5 minutes, averaging 3.5 points a game, grabbing almost 3 rebounds a game. Field goal percentage is 45%. Free throw shooting percentage is 51.7%. He's not now, and he hasn't shot a 3 yet, and that's where he's lost his confidence. He can't shoot threes, so he's totally lost his confidence, and that's going back to last year. Wishing him the best, but all of a sudden, James Madison a little inconsistent. Okay, and then also tonight, later on, Thursday night, is Texas State hosting Bradley. Told you I saw Anthony Parker play when he played for Bradley. He's the general manager of the Magic. Texas State is 2-2. Bradley is 3-1. That game is actually on ESPNU. That is the Myrtle Beach Invitational at the HTC Center in Conway, South Carolina. And that is at 5:30 Eastern time. So a couple of early ball games with all these holiday tournaments getting underway. Coastal Carolina is playing in the Bulldog Bash in Huntsville. They're playing IU Indianapolis. Cajuns taking on Liberty, Paradise Jam in the Bahamas. And those are your tournament games. You do have Georgia State taking on North Carolina Central. Remember, Georgia Southern beat NC Central earlier in the week. Monroe's going up against Northwestern State, and Arkansas State is taking on Lane College. And then, Marshall's got that big ball game against Purdue. Purdue actually lost to Marquette on Tuesday. And so, who teams play depending on, who they win and so forth in their tournament. So we shall see how that all works out. All right. And again, you got some new coaches, a lot of new players. It's tough for me to keep up with it all. And we're concentrating on football. But again, love me some college basketball. You guys know that. And we will certainly get into that. Really, there's only 3 weeks left of Sunbelt football until the bowl games. And even when there is the championship game, that's it. So we can do a lot of basketball that week. Again, thank you so much for getting everybody to subscribe. We have basically in a year, we've doubled the subscribers. That's outstanding. I did not have 1,000 subscribers at this time last year, and we're heading towards 2,000. So really do appreciate it. Like and share all those videos. Do appreciate it. Thank you for all of your support. Keep those comments coming, and I will reply. All right. You have been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. Have a great Thursday, everybody, and we'll talk to you again on Friday.